Hey, welcome everybody to Father, Son, and Holy Sport Weekly NFL Show. It's G-Man and T-Money coming to you live in NFL Week 5, bringing you our entertaining father-son take on what you need to know about the upcoming NFL week. We start, T-Money, with the bye weeks. The bye weeks start. All you fantasy managers, don't worry. We got you covered. There's 4 teams on bye this week. Detroit, Tennessee, Philadelphia, and the Chargers. And T-Money, we started off Thursday night. Big game in the NFC South. Tampa Bay going to Atlanta for the lead in the NFC South. The rejuvenated NFC South.
Yeah, it's a great week, man. If teams are really starting to separate each other, you're starting to see who's going to be good, who's going to be bad, who are the surprises this year. So, and once these bye weeks start, people got to come off these byes prepared, rested, healthy. So, it's getting to the meaty part of the season now, where you're really starting to see how this thing's going to take shape.
And you're right, we do need healthy because there's a lot of guys injured. So there's a unique thing. Those buys coming at us. Another unique thing, T-Money, we got a Sunday morning game. 9:30 Eastern, Sunday morning. The Jets and Vikings in London. And these guys behind me, how about this classic picture behind me of Darnold and Rodgers going at it here. Darnold now with the Vikings. And will Rodgers be able to take him down? We will see.
Yeah, that'll be a great battle. Love some Sunday morning football. That'll be
Sunday morning. Hey, let's talk about some teams that are in that AFC that might be a little bit overrated. We've got 5 3-0 squads that enter week 4, but now it's down to the Vikings. They're the ones that improved to 4-0. The guy behind me, Sam Darnold. But the Bills were one of those teams, and they falter. The Bills falter. And T-Money, are the Bills overrated?
Yeah. I actually think they might be a little overrated here. And look, we all really liked, the Bills heading into this game versus Baltimore. They looked like one of the best teams in the league. They were blowing people out, scoring over 30 in 3 straight games, 47 versus Jacksonville, just looking completely dominant. And turns out they were just playing horrible competition.
Yeah.
All right. They got to play Arizona, and we liked Arizona at the beginning of the year, but now they're 1-3. And the Commanders, who are a new shock, just smashed them. Miami, they are horrible, and Tua's out, and they're 1-3. And then you have Jacksonville, who hasn't won a game yet. So all combined here, these guys are 2-10. So, yeah, were they beating the worst teams in the NFL, or were they a really good team? Because they went up against Baltimore and got shellacked. I know you like that one, G.
I do like that one.
It was a shellacking, all right?
All right.
And so, yeah I don't know, man. Baltimore looked dominant. That defense looked impressive. They looked on a different level than that Bills team. And so, I mean, for Josh Allen to only scrounge together 10 points, it's not like this was 35-30. This was a beatdown of all senses, defense, offense. So, yeah, the Bills were overrated. They got exposed. I still think they're a good team. They're probably going to make the playoffs because they have a dynamic quarterback. But top-tier team in the NFL, like we kind of thought after these first 3 weeks, that might have dropped the perception a little bit.
Yeah, is a shellacking a verb or is that a noun? The shellacking. I love the shellacking word. So they got shellacked. Okay, that might be adjective, but a shellacking, that I think is a noun. But yeah, that is good. Hey, I'd be surprised if they don't win the AFC East. They got that AFC East, even though we're expecting more out of them. Right now, they're the 4 seed in that AFC. But there are 6 2-2 teams behind them. KC's 4-0. They got the 1 seed already. Believe that. The Bills are behind them, chasing Kansas City again. And if this team would get it together, CJ, what are you doing? CJ, you got to come on. Give me some fantasy points, CJ. CJ's got the Texans as the number 2 seed. They win on the tiebreak against Buffalo and Pittsburgh, who are behind them. But how about that for the top 4 seeds right now? KC, Houston, and Pittsburgh, and then Buffalo. But everything's in front of Buffalo, T Money. They can do it. They've got Houston up next Sunday at 1. They play Houston. That's going to be a battle. CJ, I need you to bring it, baby.
Yeah, hey, let me just point out that is a big battle. Okay, real quick before we go on to the next topic.
Yeah, what
If
do you
you
think?
lose to Baltimore and Houston back to back, that just puts you in a different category than what we thought the Bills were at the beginning of this year. Those are two teams who are expected to compete for Super Bowls. And if you lose to both them back to back, and we already know you really can't beat the Chiefs or the Bengals in the playoffs, you're already down to four teams that are better than you. And so this is a big, big test for them versus Houston this week. They got to win this one to really get some momentum for the playoffs looking forward.
Yeah. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle. I can't wait to see that game. Another guy I can't wait to see is Jayden Daniels. Lighten it up, T Money.
Yeah.
Every stat you could think of. The guy's just amazing. Can he keep this up? And T Money, do you think he has a shot at the NFL MVP?
G-Man, this is crazy. He might be leading the NFL MVP for me. I mean, if you're going to take a vote right now of who's been the best player in the league, he leads the league in completion percentage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He is, got his team already as the 3 seed. I know it's very early, but we're a quarter of the way through the season right now. And this is a regular season award. All right. The guy's dynamic. He's throwing great, deep, short in the pocket. He's not scrambling like crazy, scared. He is sticking in there. The only other guy at the moment you could even think that would maybe be ahead of him would be Sam Darnold. And I think Sam Darnold has a better team around him than Jayden Daniels. So can Jayden Daniels win the MVP? I mean, if this team wins 12 games, he might win. They were expected to be a bottom tier team. They win 12 games. They're already 3-1. So I think that right now he's my leader in the clubhouse. So if you're voting today, yeah, he can win it. If he continues this and wins 12, 13 games, is dynamic as hell, he looks like a superstar, checks all the boxes. Why couldn't he win NFL MVP? Mahomes isn't having a great year. Josh Allen is having a good year, but we'll see how his team ends up when he plays some real competition. I think Josh Allen might be Jayden Daniels' biggest competition in all this. Lamar's not going to get it. When you start going down the list of who could get it, he's right there. So, yeah, Jayden for MVP, man. I'm getting behind this train. Everyone join now because it might be the first rookie ever to win an NFL MVP.
Well, T Money, you can put $100 down right now on that, and you win $4,000.
Yeah.
He's plus 4,000 right now. He's behind Jalen Hurts. He's behind Baker Mayfield. He's behind Dak Prescott. He's behind Aaron Rodgers. All those guys have better odds. Now is the time to put your bet down, T Money, if you think that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that too much for you? $10 bet wins you $400. Hey, there you go, man. Daniels, they're currently great odds there for that MVP. Hey, we get to see him at home. Browns come into town. Commanders are favored over the Browns. Can Deshaun get it together? Because he's headed toward the bench pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And let's go to, you talked about this guy here. You keep talking about the Darnold, man. Darnold's like taking over our show, and he's going to take over the next question. Are the Vikings the best team in the NFL right now?
Oh, man. Look, I can't say the NFL because the Kansas City Chiefs exist, right? They haven't lost either, even though they haven't looked great. And they're the 2-time defending champs. So no one gets to say they're better than the Chiefs. Now, even in the AFC, I might still like, the Bills a little bit better, or the Texans, or the Ravens. I like these teams. But in the NFC, they might be. They have an elite defense. All right. Brian Flores is scheming up some great defenses. Sam Darnold looks pretty solid right now. Got over 1,000 yards, completing 68% of his passes. He has 11 passing touchdowns, only thrown 3 interceptions. Like, he looks solid, 233 yards a game. They kind of remind me of the Niners light. They got an okay quarterback. Everyone's kind of not sure about his ceiling, but Sam Darnold has a repertoire of being a top draft pick in this league. At least Brock Purdy doesn't have that. On top of that, they got Justin Jefferson. They have an elite defense. They have Aaron Jones, who's a good running back. They're going to have TJ Hawkinson back soon from injury. They have Jordan Addison. So they got weapons. This is like a 49ers light team here. So in the NFC, I'll give you, they look like the best team right now. As long as Sam Darnold doesn't turn into a pumpkin. My, oh my, it's October now, Gary. All right. It's Halloween. It's spooky season. Right? These quarterbacks are going to start seeing ghosts. That's Sam Darnold's most famous quote ever. I'm seeing ghosts out there. Well, it's October. So let's see in 4 weeks in October here if he's not seeing any more ghosts and turn it back into that pumpkin we all thought he was. So right now, they might be the best in the NFC. But we'll see.
I love when you start bringing out the Halloween jokes, man. This is good. Good show. Good show. But I agree because I give you a stat that backs up your concern, T-Money. The Vikings last started 4-0 8 years ago. What did that squad finish? They finished 8-8 and missed the playoffs.
Wow.
Amazing. Be careful, Vikings. Be careful. But my man Aaron Jones, he's on a revenge tour, man.
Yeah.
Goes to Minnesota, goes to Green Bay in a Minnesota uniform. The fans love him. They end up beating Green Bay in Lambeau. Great job, Aaron Jones. The revenge tour continues, baby. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Let's go, T-Money. Let's talk about some Sunday morning football. We got Minnesota favored in London. 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Catch it, baby. Catch it. And let's go to some of these coaches that we're looking at here, T-Money. And by the way, you mentioned Flores' defense and some of the completion percentages. I've been reading up on that, T-Money. Completion percentage in the NFL over the last 10 years is going up. You know why it's going up, T-Money? Because of the two deep defense, the two safeties deep. They're making the quarterbacks throw the length of the field. And so combine that with people like Flores who do the blitzes. He does a lot of blitzes. The quick passes, the quick outs are increasing the completion percentage. People are quarterbacks are throwing quicker, and they're throwing it shorter.
Yeah.
So that's why it's going up, man. A little bit of information for you there. And speaking of coaches, which coach is on the hottest seat, you think, right now, T-Money? 4 weeks into the season, 1/4 of the way through the season.
So I think this is two maybe different questions here. Are we talking about who's feeling the pressure or who I think is going to get fired first? Because I'll give you two answers.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any pressure right now more than Nick Sirianni has. All right. That team expects Super Bowl. That roster looks like Super Bowl. They are adding pieces. They have a great ownership. They have great GM. They brought in maybe the best coordinators in the NFL at the moment. They paid them like so. They got two great wide receivers. They paid an amazing running back. They have a good quarterback who got to a Super Bowl, good offensive line, drafted defensive players everywhere, signed some. So this team is ready to win right now, and Nick Sirianni with the Eagles looks out of sorts. And that is a market in Philadelphia that talk radio every morning is still really prevalent. They talk shows every day on the local channels is still really relevant, and so he's got to be feeling it. But I don't think they're going to move on because I don't know if they love their coordinators. I think the first guy that's going to get fired though is Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson starting right now. What is he? 0-4 at the moment with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
They don't look like they're getting any better. Trevor Lawrence looks like he's regressing. And that was the whole reason Doug Peterson was brought in. He was supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. Trevor Lawrence looks horrible. And so after giving a big contract to Trevor Lawrence, the only logical move right now is to get off Doug Peterson. And if they're 1-8. And, I think he's gone the first of any quarterback. But again, the hottest seat, I think, going into the season was Sirianni. And so I think that's just going to continue, especially right now that they're not looking so hot, the Eagles. So kind of two-parter there from T-Money.
Yeah, very long answer there, T Money. Very long, sophisticated answer. And I agree with what you say there, too. I would like to add to that, though. Robert Saleh's not exactly out of the woods
That's
here.
fair.
The Jets are 2-2. Inexcusable loss against Denver. He's under a lot of pressure. Saleh was given a fourth season to coach this situation because of Aaron Rodgers' injury. He has not been doing well before that. And now he gets Aaron Rodgers, gets everything he needs, and now he's not doing it. And Rodgers is a problem. We used to talk about him in Green Bay. This guy, I don't know about Aaron Rodgers in the locker room. He'll divide that locker room, man. He did it in Green Bay. He's doing it now. I mean, they're already at odds. I'm not saying I don't agree with some of the things Aaron Rodgers said. I mean, he's talking about, some of the audibles at the line. When Rodgers is up there at the line, he's making calls, and the linemen or the other guys on offense don't catch the change. And so Saleh's saying, well, you're making it too complicated. And Rodgers says, well, that's one way to look at it, but another way is hold people accountable. Well, I kind of agree with that. But Rodgers is up there making all these calls, and people are not hanging with him. They're just pointing fingers at each other. Saleh's under pressure, big time pressure. Rodgers is not going to help him by any means. I tell you that right now.
Hey, let me just point out real quickly. I agree that that he's not performing, and that Robert Saleh, I'm not a big, oh my God, this guy's great, but he's a defensive guy. And the defense the last 3 weeks has held the teams to 10, 3, and 17 points.
Fine, make him the defensive coordinator.
Robert Saleh has been doing his job right now, really.
He's
Aaron
a
Rodgers
DC.
is tough to deal with. So just saying, just to step back, and what are you going to make Nathaniel Hackett the head coach? So I think he's got job security because who the hell's behind him?
Don't talk about my coach. Don't you ever say anything about my coach. Hey, thanks to our show sponsor, Blue Tees Golf. Go to blueteesgolf.com. Affordable, high-quality golf products, baby. Things like speakers and rangefinders. Enter the coupon code FSHS and get a 10% discount on your full order. Also, do us a favor, press that like and subscribe, y'all. Help us continue to bring you fun and insightful father-son content. Let's shift some gears here, T-Money. Let's talk about some bets. Let's see if we can get some cash for all you DraftKings players out there. See if we got some ideas for you. And let's take a look here, T-Money, at the dog lock and the lock bet of the week. And T-Money, I want to tell you about the lock pick of the week. The lock is our best pick of the week. The dog lock is a dog that we think might win outright. So, T-Money, who you like for your lock pick of the week? By the way, T-Money, I got a bonus lock pick for you.
I'm sure you do. So my lock pick of the week here is the Commanders -3.5 versus the Cleveland Browns. Okay? The Cleveland Browns, I don't know how they're not even at home here. So what they're telling you is if this was at Cleveland, this would almost be a pick'em game. Cleveland the last 3 weeks has scored 16, 15, and 18 points. All right. The Commanders have scored over 20 in every game. In the last 2 games, they've gone 38 and 42 points. Give me the Commanders all day. Dynamic Jayden Williams here to just run all over these Cleveland Browns. All right. I think this is going to be a blowout. They're at home. Everyone's feeling good. The Browns are headed in the wrong direction. Amari Cooper might be traded. This seems easy for me. Commanders -3.5. I'm going to hammer that. I might tease it up to 9. I don't even know. Spicy.
T-Money. Hey, where do you think Amari's going?
Hey, that's a conversation for another day, but the Chiefs seem like the logical option, don't they?
Ha, ha, ha. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, All right, I'm going to go to the Ravens game. Ravens Cincinnati. Your boys in Cincinnati, man. I don't know. You got a home game, T Money, Sunday at 1. You going?
I'm not going, but I'll be drinking.
You'll be out there at the
I'll be
tailgates.
tailgating.
I'm going with the other team, though, man. I like Ravens -2.5 versus Cincinnati.
Fair
This
enough.
spread is moving. Started at -1.5. Now it's -2.5. Grab it at 2.5. The Ravens ground game is killing people, T Money. They ran roughshod over the Cowboys and the Bills, both two playoff teams. They just ran them over. The Ravens are the first team in NFL history to outrush opponents by 100 or more yards in the first 4 games of the season. They're looking good on that run game, T Money. You know that. They still don't have a real good pass game, but they don't need it. As a favorite of 3 points or less, or an underdog, Lamar Jackson, 24-5 against the spread in the regular season, the best mark of any quarterback in the last 20 years. Give me the Ravens -2.5 on Sunday at 1 to run all over that Cincinnati defense for my lock pick of the week.
Yeah, This is it's a big game for the Bengals, man. Division, need to get back on it, but I'm scared to say the least when Lamar comes to town. Let's go to my lock pick of the week here, or my dog lock here.
Well, before you get to your dog lock, I got a bonus lock. Go
ahead.
Let me give you my bonus lock. I hit my bonus lock last week. I'm starting to gain momentum, Team Money. All right, let's go to my bonus lock again because I'm hot on the bonus lock. Hey, I'm going Minnesota against those Jets in London at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. How about Denver upsetting the Jets in week 4? Rodgers is going to be the comeback guy from the Achilles injury at 40 years old. Not happening, Team Money. Rodgers is averaging 212 passing yards per game, 64% completion rate. That's not going to get it done, Team Money. And his competition has not been that tough. The Minnesota Vikings are the story of the NFL this year. And they're 4-0 straight up, and Team Money, they're 4-0 against the spread. And favorites in international games are 30-15 against the spread. Give me the Vikings to keep it going in London, -2.5 for my bonus lock pick of the week.
Is that just a new thing now? Why are we even calling it a bonus if you do it every week?
Hey,
guys, I like my bonus lock and my extra player props. Here's my player prop of the week, all 5 of them. You know, anytime G-Man can get extra bets in, that's what he always tries to sneak a bit.
I'm trying to give you information. Okay.
I know, hey, you're the best bettor I know, so you got to follow G-Man when he says something.
Thank you. Well, how about the dog lock? Who you got?
Let's go to dog lock here. I got 3 dog locks for you. My real dog lock, one and only here, and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Please don't hold me to it. I'm taking the Panthers. The Carolina Panthers.
How many are they getting on your
Panthers +3.5 versus Chicago? Okay. I know this is nuts. The Red Rifle is slinging it right now. Okay. They outgained Cincinnati. They had more first downs, more yards, everything. Their defense just couldn't stop anybody. And luckily for them, they're going up against a team who doesn't seem to know how to score in football. They scored 24 points finally, but they haven't done over 24 points this entire season. Andy Dalton had 36 2 weekends ago and had 24 in a loss versus a good Bengals team. The Chicago Bears have scored 13, 16, and then finally 24 versus a Rams team that's playing high school players because they're so injured. So I really think this is an interesting spot where they could catch them off guard. They could come in and win this game 27-24, 24-20. Like, don't be surprised if Andy Dalton, who is slinging it right now, comes in and beats Chicago. And so I think this is a weird spot where everyone's kind of off Carolina right now. They beat the Raiders 36-22. And then they barely lost to the Bengals. I know it doesn't look like it, but that was a much closer game than everyone realizes. They had the ball with 4 minutes left to take the lead. So this is a shockingly good team. So Panthers plus three and a
We
half.
we will see. We will see. T Money hanging it out there on Carolina, man. Gutsy move. I'm going to go with someone a little bit more sure and sound, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Getting points on Thursday night. Tomorrow night, we got the game. Tampa Bay versus Atlanta, Thursday night football. The Bucks will come after Cousins, T Money. We talked about blitzing, and Tampa's going to blitz Cousins. They have the third highest blitz rate in the NFL. You know, Cousins rates among the bottom quarterbacks in the NFL when he's pressured. Sacked 4 times this year, threw 3 combined interceptions versus Kansas City and Pittsburgh versus this blitz and pressure. Tampa Bay has won 6 of the past 8 outright, and they're getting points here, T Money. And as an underdog on short rest, Baker's 5-2 against the spread. And we all know that Kirk Cousins does not perform well at prime time, does not perform well at night. This guy's in trouble. I'm going Tampa Bay to win this thing outright against Atlanta.
All right. All right. That's a good one. Division game. That'll be spicy. Let's go on to G-Man's player prop of the week, his hottest betting segment. What you got for us, G?
Yes, it is my hottest betting. 3-2 last week, so kept the winning going there. I've got 5 for you, T-Money. I'm going to that Ravens game. I think the Ravens on Sunday at 1 are going to put up some points. I didn't love Lamar's props. I'm going over to Derrick Henry, anytime touchdown. 4 of the last 4 games, he's had a touchdown. Anytime touchdown, Derrick Henry. Seems like an easy one. All right, let's go to San Fran at the 4 o'clock game on Sunday. I've got a couple here. Purdy over 252 passing yards. He's had 3 games in a row over 288. And now it's 252. No way. They're putting up points here. The other one I like in San Fran is Jordan Mason, over 18 rush attempts. 4 straight games he's beat that, and the last game was 24 rush attempts. They're feeding him the rock. And if they get the lead, they'll continue to feed him the rock. Mason over on rush attempts. And then finally, I'll go to the Packers game. Jordan Love over 249 on the pass yards. So Purdy and Jordan Love about the same, about 250 is the target for these guys. I think they're both going over. You know that Jordan Love had 389 pass yards last game? That's insane.
Crazy.
That prop is that low. And then let's go over to Jayden Reed and Wicks at the receivers. Of course, Christian Watson is out. So something's going to pick up here. I like Wicks. Over 23 receiving yards, Team Money. He had 78 last week, and Watson's out. 23, he's going to beat that.
All right. All right. I like him, G-Man. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's go to fantasy then. Let's talk about fantasy and some of these teams, you know, are on buys. We talked about it. We're in week 5. We got in the AFC, the Titans and Chargers are on bye. And in the NFC, we got the Eagles and Lions on bye. So you got to fill your slate up, your team, your roster with some of the waiver wire. The waiver wire is going crazy this morning on Wicks. Man, people are overpaying Team Money. I just not going that high on my fab to go get Wicks. When he had one good game, I went back and looked at the film on Wicks. His catches are not that great, man. I don't look at him and say, oh my God, that guy's a beast. I don't see it, man. I mean, he had a good game. I'm willing to pay a little bit for him, but I'm not paying 50% of my fab for him, man.
All right. All right. Well, let's do your hot and running back of the week.
Yeah. Hey, okay, I can get to that. I'm going to get to that. I'm giving you some stuff here, man. Hey, let's do start him and sit him. Start him. G Money's going to give you the hot starts, and T Money's going to give you the cold. You better sit him, baby, or they're going to break your heart. T Money hits on this cold all the time. At the hot, T Money, I'm going this week to Justice Hill. Sunday at Cincinnati, the running back for the Ravens. Derrick Henry stole the show. We all know that, but Hill is still good. 96 total scrimmage yards and a touchdown. He only had 10 touches. He was the leading receiver for the Ravens. I told you, man, that receiving game's messed up, but they don't need it. But this should be another big game against that Bengals run defense for Justice Hill. He's only $5,300 on DraftKings for daily fantasy. Great value at $5,300. Justice Hill. My stardom running back hot pick of the week.
All right. All right. That sounds like a plan here. My cold running back of the week is Gary's baby, Rachaad White. All right.
Ah,
Rashad White is my cold running back of the week. Projected 12.1 versus Atlanta. Very interesting. Atlanta, shockingly, number 9 versus running backs. All right. So this is a tough matchup for them. And he has not been over 10.4 points in the last 3 weeks. 2 of those were under 9 points. And Irving is only out carrying him over the last 2 games, 19-16 versus Bucky Irving, his backup, who seems to be the new hot toy in town. So Rashad White might be out of luck here. This is going to be a running back by committee. You're never going to know who's going to get the touches or the touchdowns. So I don't like this backfield unless one of them gets hurt or just explodes and takes over right now. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place right now with Rashad White if you don't have Bucky Irving. Even still, I don't like Rashad White this week specifically. So he's my cold running back of the week.
yeah, good call. He's having a tough year. And Bucky Irving looks good.
Yeah.
He's one of the top rookies this year. He's doing great. I'm going to go to my hot wide receiver this week, Jayden Reed, at the Rams on Sunday for the Packers. He caught 7 of 8 targets for 139 and a touchdown. The Packers lose to the Vikings, but big day for Reed. He led the team in receptions and receiving yards, high-powered throwing offense, and he's their lead guy. In 3 of the last 4 games, he logged 6 or more targets per game. Big upside potential. $6,500 on DraftKings. I like it. If it's in 6,000s, I'm okay with that for an upside guy. Jayden Reed, my stardom wide receiver hot pick of the week.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let me go to my cold wide receiver here. I'm sticking to the same game, going opposite side, though. I'm going Darnell Mooney, the Atlanta receiver, projected 12.4 versus Tampa Bay. Look, this is a top 10 team versus wide receivers in Tampa Bay. So this is a tough matchup. He only had 8 points last week. All right. So it didn't have as many points as everyone thought he was those first 2 weeks. You know, he had 2 out of 3 weeks. He was looking pretty solid with 17 and 14. But when you do a little deep dive, all right, on what you saw those 2 weeks before that, Philadelphia is a really bad passing defense, and he scored a touchdown there. So that's fine. He got his touchdown. But when he didn't score a touchdown, he had a season high in targets, and he caught every single target. In the rest of the other games, he had 3 catches on 6 targets, 3 catches on 7 targets, 1 catch on 3 targets, 8 catches for 8 targets. I think that's going to be a potential season high in targets and a potential season high in catches. And so if this guy's not catching touchdowns, he was very lucky to catch every ball thrown his way. Darnell Mooney, the new toy everyone likes to go get off the waiver wire. I'm staying away from it because that Tampa Bay back end is also very strong. So Darnell Mooney's my cold wide receiver of the week.
Good call. I saw that 12 points. I was like, where'd they get 12 from? As a projection for Darnell Mooney. And Cousins not playing that well, Team Money. I would not be surprised if Michael Penix takes over this team sooner than we thought.
Maybe.
Cousins not playing. A lot of those receivers for Atlanta are not racking up the receptions. And Mooney's way down that list. He's number 4 receiver. So, yeah, tough to pick them now the way Cousins is playing, and a lot of mouths to feed over there. Good call. Hey, let's go to take or mistake. Take or mistake. I pick a player that had a big week. Team Money tells us whether we should take the bait or would that be a mistake. And we're going to give Team Money this week Dontavian Wicks from the Packers. Wicks brought in 5 of, get this, 13 targets for 78 yards, 2 touchdowns in the Packers game against the Vikings. After 2 of his first 3 games, tallied 0 fantasy points. Wicks breaks out in week 4 and leads the Packers in targets and scoring. Can fantasy managers trust Wicks in a juicy week 5 road matchup against that Rams secondary? Christian Watson will miss. Team Money, are you starting Dontavian Wicks in fantasy on Sunday afternoon? Is he a take, or would that be a big, big mistake?
I think if you have some guys on a bye, he could be a good flex option. I actually really like him here.
Team Money's right in the middle here.
No, I mean, I think he's a start if you have guys on a bye. You know, I wouldn't start him over Amari Cooper. I like secured target shares, but this guy, now that Christian Watson is down, is the wide receiver too, and in an offense where Jordan Love's going to pass. All right. Last year, he was really good. He had the highest target share when he was on the field. All right. This year is a little banged up. And yes, he didn't have great points before this, but Jordan Love was hurt. Jayden Reed didn't have great games before this. And you like him as your hot wide receiver of the week. All right. This guy, when he's on the field, is targeted the most of any of those Green Bay receivers. There was 4 red zone targets that went to him out of 6 total red zone passes that the Packers threw. So he's getting the target share, he's getting the touchdown looks, and when he's on the field in these now 2 wide receiver sets, which is what he is now in because Christian Watson's gone, he is even more potential to have big games. He had a great rookie year. He's really special talent. He's a second-year breakout candidate. I like Wicks here. So I would start him as my flex if I had some guys on a bye or I was in between 2 players. He has massive upside. So if you're looking for upside, he's the guy to go for.
Okay, well, that'll fit right in with my DFS lineup, T-Money. I'm going with a Green Bay stack in my daily fantasy lineup this week. Got Jordan Love at the quarterback, got Wicks, Reed, Tucker Kraft, all loaded up in a stack. Going for that Green Bay high score against the Rams.
Yeah.
At running back, I've got Jordan Mason. I think he's going to get a lot of carries here. And mentioned him already. I was able to fit in Kenneth Walker for only $6,800. How's Kenneth Walker only $6,800 on DraftKings? Got to go with that. And then we'll go to that high-flying Washington offense. I'm going to go McLaurin. He's only $6,100 in that big throwing team. I'm going to take him. And then we got a flex Justice Hill for Baltimore with the Broncos defense. There's my DFS lineup for the week, baby.
All right. I like it.
Okay, T-Money. Well, that's it for today's show. Get ready for NFL Week 5, everyone. Big game Thursday night in the NFC South, Tampa and Atlanta. And then don't forget, everybody, about Sunday morning at 9:30 in London for the start of the Sunday games. Father-Son Sports. It loves bringing you the NFL energy. We hope you had fun hanging out with us. On behalf of T-Money, I'm G-Man. Enjoy the games this week.
All right. Peace.